please call the roll.
Trustee Davis.
Here.
Trustee Aiello. Trustee Bolfus.
Here.
Trustee Taglia.
Here.
Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Bullwinkle. President Colleton.
Here. And if we could all please rise for the pledge. Phil Patel, could you lead us in the pledge, please? Could all remain standing. Trustee Taglia, could you lead us in a prayer, please?
Certainly. Our Heavenly Father, will thou be pleased to grant that this meeting, thus begun in order, be conducted in peace and closed in harmony. Amen.
All right, we will go to item 3, approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
President,
Trustee Taglia,
I'll move to approve the agenda.
can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Case,
Second.
any questions or comments on the agenda? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
President Colleton.
Yes. All right, item 4 is presentation of our Halloween decorating awards by the Pride Commission, and who's going to run it, Diane? All right, Diane Blair Sherlock and all of the Pride Commission are here. If you could introduce your commission and then also all of your award recipients.
Great. Good evening. Community Pride Commission is here to present some Halloween decorating awards, but I have a little preface to it beforehand. Everybody did such a nice job on the Halloween decorating. It was hard to choose. It really was. We had a lot of nominees. But now it's time for the holiday decorating awards. So we're asking you to please look around the neighborhood. There's so many to choose from. There's great decorating out there. Email the Pride Commission with addresses of the homes that you think deserve special recognition for their holiday decorating awards. On another note, the chili cook-off was postponed, and we have it rescheduled for January. We do have a Facebook page, like us on Facebook, right? The Community Pride Commission. Please check there. We're looking for entries for the rescheduled chili cook-off in January. Now, Pride Commission. Alicia Bailey, Al Stash, Carol Davis, who's going to be doing the presentation with Junior Commissioner Shannon Sherlock. So on that note, I'll turn it over to Carol.
Thank you. We had 4 award winners. And again, we'd like to thank you. Everybody enjoyed in your hard work and your imagination. You did a wonderful job. The first one is the Travnik family, 136 East Sunset. Are the Travniks here? Yes. Oh, excellent.
And don't go anywhere. They're going to do a big picture of all of the award recipients. Paul will make sure of that, right, Paul?
The Cloutier family, Susanna Cloutier. Diana and Kevin Smith, 560 East Lane Drive. East Lane Drive. Carrie Robertasa and Steve Mazurek, 250 East Oak Avenue.
Now, if you didn't have a chance to see these homes, since now they probably have their Christmas decorations up, Al has
We hope so.
Yes. Yeah, right, exactly. But Al has assured me that we will definitely have the pictures posted, on the internet. So if you want to check them out, they all did a really nice job.
And I just wanted to say that one of the sponsors for Joyful Traditions was the Community Pride Commission. They sponsored this beautiful business block, and there were so many of them that did. I could thank every single sponsor that put on Joyful Traditions, but I believe they don't really care about recognition. They care about our community. They care about our camaraderie. And certainly Joyful Traditions was an awesome event for that. But we've got a new tradition. The fight with Villa Park's finest. With the trees, the blue and the red on the parade path. They did an awesome job of decorating, so thank you guys so much for that. If you go around the corner, it's bigger and better and brighter than ever. So I want to thank the Community Pride Commission and every single sponsor that brought this to our community. So thank you.
And everybody who won, please, Paul, where's easiest for him? Over there, Al's point. Follow Al's stash. He wants to take everybody's picture. So you're in the paper, and the website will have those up. Correct, Diane?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then what's the date for the decorating, for the holiday decorating?
We'd like to get the nominations by the 16th of December.
All right, so if you see a house out there by the 16th of December, get the word into the Community Pride Commission. Okay, item 5, consider an ordinance approving a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, and Bone Properties. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The developer has requested financial assistance in the form of rebates of sales taxes in order to proceed with the acquisition of property for use as a retail and wholesale roofing supply company. The redevelopment of this property would allow the potential relocation of this business to Villa Park and would result in 25 full-time jobs. The village is therefore prepared to utilize the economic incentives available pursuant to the Economic Incentive Act. And I believe, Your Honor, that Economic Development Director Yee would like to introduce the business at this time.
Please.
So I wanted to introduce you to the principals of Bone Roofing. We have brothers, President Jack Bone, twin brother Jim Bone, his sons Dennis and Jason Bone. They also have their wife with them here today. This is a 41-year-old family-owned roofing business that's relocating here from Chicago. It's 3 generations, very strong. They have grown their business to a very prominent roofing company from Chicago, Galewood area. They currently operate out of a 76,000 square foot building, and they're looking to move into 880 North Addison Road, which their current facilities is 4 acres, and they would be moving to about 10 acres, 8 of which is usable. So the expectation is they will double their sales. So the benefit to Villa Park for this proposal is an additional, over the next 10 years, $1.5 million of sales tax revenue. And they are relocating into a building that is currently an industrial building that is underutilized, that currently has only half a dozen to 8 employees. And so now they will be operating with a minimum of 25 full-time employees. Very strong business, all retail sales, and so this will be a great addition to Villa Park. They like Villa Park. It's centrally located for their business. Again, they're bringing a strong sales tax base, and they're improving the existing building. They're going to purchase the existing building. Currently, Highway Technology is the current tenant. They have 2 additional years of lease. They expect to close and purchase this building by the end of the year. And they will go to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their use on Thursday night. And assuming there are no issues at Planning and Zoning, we expect to have the board approve their use next Monday on the board meeting on the 17th. So with that, I want to introduce you to Jack Bone, president of Bone Roofing.
Number one, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. I know all of you give of your time and your energy and for the large money you receive every year around Christmas, I sit on a board right now, my brother sat on many boards, so I know what you're going through. You're trying to do the best for your community as we hope that we can help you with. Mamie asked me to give you a little history of Bone Roofing Supply. We're actually now roofing suppliers to the trade. They call that wholesale. Doesn't mean it's non-taxable. Wholesale suppliers to the trade itself. 1971. My brother and I were down at Bradley for a year and a half, or a year and apart, and my dad was 56, and he was a salesman for a competitor, and he had an opportunity to open his own, and we always wanted to do something together, Jimmy and my dad. And he gave us a phone call down there, and we did the crazy thing of leaving Bradley, come home and opening up a roofing supply house with my parents. My mom cried for about 10 years. Never got the sheepskin. And then they went, we lived in I still live in LaGrange Park. We lived in LaGrange Park all our life, little very modest Georgian home. Parents went to the bank next door and got all of $20,000 to start the business. With that, we had to get a warehouse, a truck, a forklift, and it allowed us in those days 3 trailers of material. There was the 20 grand going. At that time, we had 6 competitors in and around Chicagoland. A lot of years, hard work, 70, 80-hour weeks. I can remember working Thanksgiving Day with my father-in-law, pushing shingles off the truck. We're open 5.5 days of the week, most of the year. We started out at 4446 North Avenue in Chicago, across from Helene Curtis, half-mile long business. That Helene Curtis is gone now, it's Menards. Our building is still there. We had slow growth, worked real hard, probably about an employee a year as we grew. 8 years later, we were kind of bulging at the seams. We were in 6,000 square feet. We found this building up on Narragansett that was built for Zenith, 50,000 square foot, very modern building. I was like, oh man, God, it'd be wonderful. Sure enough, we were able to do it. I think it was 1979. We moved into there. Over the years, bought some property from our neighbors, and we continued to expand product lines, drivers, trucks, increase sales. So life goes on. Jim has a family. I have a family. 2 of his boys are here tonight. This is Dennis and Jason. They do real well in college, go on to graduate school. One goes into accounting for Price Waterhouse, doing real well with his graduate degree, and the other one's at a commercial bank in Elk Grove. And for some reason, they got this crazy idea they want to come to work for Dad and Uncle Jack. And be down there every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's great. Anyways, big family decision whether, to be honest with you, 5 years ago, to sell the business to a large competitor or keep it in the family name. We were real proud of our name. The boys came into the business, and it was literally like a shot of adrenaline for Jim and I. 35 years of doing it, you get a little worn down, but a shot of adrenaline. They're great, real asset to the company. And again, business continues to expand and grow a little bit, so we're once again bulging at the seams. So a few years ago, we got this crazy idea. We wanted to look for a larger property. We wanted to look a little further west. We'd moved from 4400 west to 6400 west. When we first went in business, our radius was maybe 10 miles. Today, it's probably every day pretty close to 50. We run 8 full-time drivers. We have 12 trucks, a couple of spares. So we were looking out toward the 294 corridor, North Avenue, 355. Now that 355 goes to Joliet type thing, that's really great. So a few years now, we've been looking in with the one gentleman who didn't get introduced, Wayne Pesic. He's our consultant with this whole thing, a friend and a super guy. Addison, Villa Park, Lombard, Lyle. Kind of looked in Carroll Stream. That was a little too far. But for a lot of issues, logistics, space, tax that we have to charge our customer in Chicago. Until just recently, we were at 10 1/4. We have competitors in Lyle that are 7 1/4. So we were looking for an opportunity to help ourselves as well as our customers. Better logistics. This building right up down the road here, it was about the 6th one we looked at, and geez, we go, wow, this is kind of like what we got now. Drive around the building, trucks in the back, Talked to the realtor, kind of made an offer bounced back and forth a little bit, kind of settled on a number about 2 months ago. Right now, we're in the middle of our due diligence. So discovering a couple things that might have to be attended to that are a little out of code, but we're dealing with that right now, trying to make that a non-issue rather than an issue. We hope to build the close for the building owner's sake by the end of the year. Obviously, this federal tax stuff is coming into play for the owner of the building. For his benefit, we'd like to close by then. Let me think. We're really proud of being where we're at. I sent a letter to some of the neighbors of the property, actually my wife and I did, explaining about the Bone family and how we try to be good neighbors, keep our property. We're real proud of it. And one of your residents called me. I put my cell number on there, and he lives right over there actually his father-in-law lives there. He says, "Are you Mr. Bone?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Nice letter." I said, "Oh, thank you. I just wanted to introduce ourselves to the community." He said, "My father-in-law, old-time bohemian, he's a real skeptic." I said, "Okay." He wants me to come down and look at your place. I welcome you to. I encourage you to. That's why I put the letter out for him. So Wednesday morning, I don't know his last name. His first name is Nate. He's going to be at our shop, look at our place, and I can't wait to show it to him. We try to be good business partners. This gentleman and I got the privilege of sitting in Mayor Davis' office one time because we helped repave Narragansett right in front of our warehouse. It was in horrendous shape a few years ago after a million potholes and no money to fix them. So that was kind of a cool memory. We got the picture on our front counter. We're clean freaks. My parents were clean freaks. We're clean freaks. We keep the place that way. We help the neighbors. We plow sidewalks. We do things like that. And we want to do the same in Villa Park. Like I said, we've lived in LaGrange Park all our life. We'd love to have a business here for the next 50 years. We don't see why that would be any different. We're anxious to complete the purchase, become business partners for Villa Park, be good partners, family, people that you can call today, tomorrow. My cell number's everywhere, my brother's cell numbers. And we're happy to let us talk and be part of your village, and hope to move forward with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bone. All right, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? This is Committee of the Whole. If not, anyone from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia?
I would just like to thank the Misters Bone and their families for coming to Villa Park, and we look forward to having you here for a long time, so thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolthus?
I too would like to thank you for coming. Reading through the agreement here, looks like it's a good, fair agreement for both parties. It's a piece of property that really doesn't generate any revenue besides property taxes for the village of Villa Park. So to have it's a real find for us to have a retail outlet at that location. It's to us, it's sort of like a gift too, you know. So I really appreciate you coming. For the residents to know, it's a 10-year agreement with a decreasing sharing of the sales tax revenue. The village every year gets a little bit more of the split. So, and then after 10 years, it's over. But you know, to help them get their building, get their facilities up and working, and to increase their sales that much quicker by helping them out. So it looks like a real fair agreement to me. So thank you very much for coming to Villa Park.
We appreciate it very much.
Any other questions or comments from the board? I have one, and maybe answer this. What were your sales last year?
Like 23 million.
23 million, and the
Yeah.
anticipation is you're doubling in size?
They're doubling in size in 10 years.
We hope that actually, I don't think 5 to 10% a year of an increase is unreasonable. That's
Okay.
what we hope to do. I need to be perfectly honest, 75% of that 23 million was taxable.
Okay.
We deliver summertime, a lot of schools,
Right.
deliver malls, Airfield, content. About 75% of the sales.
Very good.
Their sales projections show for the first 2 years an 8% per annum increase because they're going to have a larger facility to facilitate that additional sales. And then after that is 5% a year. And I went back and have obtained their sales for the past 5 years, and that sales increase, even with the weak economy in '08 and '07, is achievable based on their historicals.
All right, very good.
I should also say that depending on how long Highway Technology stays there, they're looking to occupy this between the end of 2013 or 2014, even though they'll close on the property by the end of this year, or they hope to.
So just so everybody is aware, we do have a lease agreement with the tenant in there, but that'll be expiring by hopefully and that'll expire end of 13. Okay. Very
It
good.
actually officially today expires at the end of 14. We hope to negotiate with them.
Okay.
We haven't had one word of official contact with them, so we'll do our best.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. Can I have a consensus to move this to the formal?
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
President Colleton?
And this will move to the formal. We will go to item 6, discussion of Metro Station survey results and pay stations.
Evening, Mr. President and Board. I'd like to give you an update on a little project we've been working on at the direction of the village manager. We sent out a survey to ask our customers, the village's customers, in the Metro lot of if there be other options available for them to pay for their parking other than picking up a daily permit, buying a quarterly permit, or paying cash at the boxes. Because as we all know, as you look around, as technology is sweeping everywhere. So we sent out some flyers, did a lot of them the old-fashioned way, hung them on the cars, but also gave them a chance to go to an online survey. And what we found is that about 60% of the people that responded would like some form of electronic payment. Now, we've seen a couple different vendors out there. Some of them want the village to buy in for an expense of putting an internet line, putting electricity in so people can swipe their credit cards. One vendor we've looked at, and I'm hoping within the next month or so to bring a proposal to the board, doesn't require any of that because it's all internet and phone app based. Something to the nature of you park your car in space number 19, you've set up your account with this company, you send a text message to the number and tell them you're in number 19, and it goes into their system of being paid for parking charged to your credit card. No muss, no fuss. Our enforcement officers through the internet can pick up a list of everyone that's paid electronically, see the list on their computers in the field, so when we have enforcement issues. But the good news is it provides the technology that I think the consumers are asking for, and doesn't cost us anything to put it in. I believe the one company we looked at will charge a 25-cent a day convenience fee. So if we leave our parking, again the board's decision, at $1.50 a day, the people that want the convenience may incur a convenience fee to the service, and that's where they make their money on it. So I wanted to bring you up to date on that, see if you had any, if you hadn't heard about it or had seen the survey. I don't know if any of you use the Metro lot. Just to let you know that that's something we have been working on, and hopefully going to come back to the board within the next month or two with a proposal from a company to move forward with it.
Chief, real quick, if people want to pay the straight way, they can. Just the same old fashioned, go up to the box, drop the quarters in, they still can?
Yes, sir. Adds another option.
Okay.
But we got a lot of great input from the users that talked about, can you put more numbered slots here or there? And we got some suggestions on how maybe to do things different on either side of the track. So we'll be looking at all those in conjunction with this. But it adds one more feature for our customers.
Fantastic. Go ahead, manager.
Thank you, Your Honor. The one item that did come up from several residents to me was, if I'm running late, Manager Keener, can I just jump on the train and use my app as the train's pulling away? And the answer is yes. So if you're running late, you just pay it as the train's pulling away. You don't have to miss your train.
We actually went out, manager and Deputy Chief Budig and I went out over to, where did we go to look at that? Brookfield uses the company over there, and just to take a look, see how they were doing it over there. And it's text to the phone number, text to a text ID number, and let them know where you're parked. It takes care of business for you.
Any questions or comments from the public? Questions, comments from the board?
It's nice to see that Villa Park's finally getting out of the Stone Age and moving on.
We're moving into the eighties, trustee
It's
Case.
scary, but it's happening. It's hard to believe, but
In
it
the
is.
eighties now, we're in the eighties.
We're in the 80s.
There we go. We're getting-
We'll get to the 90s someday.
Trustee,
Trustee,
but
Boldis?
the real key was minimal cost to the village. No cost to.
Yeah, we don't have to do,
That's, that's
there's
sweet
several of
words.
those vendors out there, and they all do it a different way, so we were looking for the one that didn't, that we didn't have to pay anything for, but it provided a pretty good service, so
Great.
we like that one.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Item 7, consider an ordinance amending the regular meeting date of the Economic Development Commission. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Economic Development Commission is requesting that the time of their meeting be changed from the fourth Thursday of the month to the third Wednesday of every month. Staff recommends the board pass this amendment to the village code. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions, comments from the board? Consensus?
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Colleton.
All right, that will move forward to the formal. Item 8, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adopting a citizen participation plan. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. In order to maximize the involvement of all residents of Villa Park in the composition, implementation, and assessment of its Illinois Ike Disaster Recovery Program grant, the resolution will enable the village clerk to maximize citizen participation. Staff recommends approving this resolution to benefit the Villa Park community. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions, comments from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolfus?
can we get a little explanation of what this actually means for the residents? What's involved and why we're doing this, and what the requirements and.
Yes, another item on the agenda is an agreement for receiving $90,000 in grant funding to do an annex to our comprehensive plan for stormwater. One of the grant requirements is that we formally adopt a citizen participation plan along with the grant agreement. So the language in the resolution has been provided by the granting agency, which is the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. It's basically stating what we were going to do anyway, but it's putting in a document so that we can provide the federal government with the documentation to show that we're meeting the grant requirements. So a citizen participation plan is part of the DCEO grant requirement. So they passed on the wording of the resolution that we must pass in conjunction with the grant agreement before we can get the planning grant funding. So basically it says is that we will involve the public in our planning grant, which of course we will because it's a planning grant. It is part of our comprehensive plan. By its nature, we will be involving the residents of the village. But this just formalizes in a document to send to the federal government.
So the citizen participation, you referred, it'd be like town hall meetings or meetings of groups of citizens in affected areas, or?
Right, there'll be public meetings held throughout
Public-
the planning process.
Okay, thank you.
But as part of the planning process, to get the grant,
We need a citizen
we need a
participation
citizen
plan.
participation plan
Right.
to get the planning grant.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Just heard you say planning a lot, and it all sort of tied in together. Wanted to make sure we had it all.
I heard grant.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board? Consensus?
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
President Colleton.
This will move to the formal. Item 9, consider a resolution approving a marketing agreement with Inland Bank and Trust and Inland Home Mortgage. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Inland Bank and Trust and Inland Home Mortgage have presented the village president and the board of trustees a proposal to jointly address home ownership and homeowner assistance strategies to potential and current village homeowners. By entering into this agreement, Inland Bank and Trust will provide free educational seminars to village residents. Staff recommends entering into this agreement with Inland Bank and Trust to provide these services to our community. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And we do have Phil Patel here, who is, I don't know, Large and in charge of Inland Bank?
Far
King,
from it.
king of Inland Mortgage?
Far
No?
from
But if there are any questions, first, do you want to give a quick description? I know we had a great presentation from you a couple weeks ago about this program, but if you could just give a small synopsis of it, and then I'll open it up for questions from the public or questions from the board, if that's okay. All right.
This is the first time that Inland Bank and Inland Home Mortgage is partnering up together with communities that we serve in. We particularly like the Villa Park community because it is a close-knit community. We do have a good relationship with the village already. But what this will actually do is we will provide free adult educational seminars, everything from home ownership, how to stay in your home, to budgeting, finances, to keep our residents in their homes, thereby increasing property values, thereby increasing retention, and thereby attracting more businesses to want to come to the village, to conduct their business in the village, and thereby just increasing the livelihood of the village. At the last meeting, we did present some facts and figures, which, as scary as they were, they continue to go up. And the purpose of this partnership is to cut that at its knees before it goes any further, and provide that education to the homeowners and the residents before it's too late.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public?
Just a question, how many,
Can you come up? Wait, you gotta come up, state your name. I know, you're
how many branches do you have here in Villa Park?
and state your name.
Ken Mount.
There we go.
Said it.
Okay.
In Villa Park, there's just one.
One.
Each of our communities has one. Glen Ellen is the only community that has two. But the Villa Park office is the second largest office in our network behind Lake Zurich.
Okay. And then your corporate offices are
Is
located
in Oak Brook.
Oak Brook. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Thank you, Ken. Any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolfus?
thank you for this program. You know, nothing's worse than to see somebody having trouble making ends meet and possibly, having to leave their home. And I really appreciate that the Inland Bank is taking an initiative in this and partnering with the village to help prevent that if we possibly can. So, and also to get new residents into town and help them secure the financing and how to take care of their properties. I really appreciate your
Well, we appreciate the partnership too. I mean, your livelihood is our livelihood, and our names have changed multiple times as in the banking industry, but the faces are the same, the mentality is the same, the community focus is the same. That hasn't changed. We're not a sales bank. We are really focused on building the community and making sure that we get to where we need to be.
Having gone around and like all of us on this board, and we ran for office, knocking on doors. Villa Park is just filled with great residents, and that's what makes it even harder when you see somebody having some difficulty. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Part of this aspect, is this also part of the veterans grant program that Inland is doing with this as well?
Yes, the Welcome Home Vets program has many mortgage assistance programs available to veterans, current, retired, active. The families of veterans who can't make payments, there's assistance available. Forgivable loans are available. The only problem is a lot of veterans don't know about them, and that's what we're really trying to reach out with. Is we have a very strong veteran base here in Villa Park, and they just may not be familiar with the loans that are available. Inland Home Mortgage also operates more along the lines of a broker, where we have access to many different lenders and their programs, as opposed to just 5 or 10 of our own choosing. So every criteria, every situation has a solution, and we can find that if we make it known to the public that we're here to help them.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from the board? Consensus, please.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Colleton?
This will move to the formal. Item 10, consider a resolution approving Hurricane Ike planning and technical assistance grant agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Village of Villa Park has been awarded a Hurricane Ike disaster recovery planning and Technical Assistance Grant. A grant agreement with Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity needs to be executed. A resolution authorizing a representative to execute the agreement is required. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Any questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please. Or consensus, please.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Colleton.
All right, that will move forward to the formal. Item 11, consider a resolution approving state local hazard mitigation grant program agreement with amendment with the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village has entered into a hazard mitigation grant program agreement with Illinois Emergency Management Agency to fund property buyout program. The program provides funding to buy out and demolish residential properties that have been damaged due to surface flooding. The agreement expires in December 2012 and needs to be extended. A resolution approving grant amendment is needed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions, comments from the board? Consensus, please.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
President Colleton.
That will move forward as well. Item 12, advance to bill listings A through C. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions or comments from the board? Consensus?
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
President Colleton.
That will move to the formal. Item 13, we will convene to the formal agenda. All right, item 1, proclamation declaring 2012 Drunk and Drug Driving Prevention Month. Whereas motor vehicle crashes killed 918 people in Illinois during 2011. And whereas hundreds of those deaths involved a driver impaired by alcohol and or drugs. Whereas the December holiday season is traditionally one of the most deadly times of the year for impaired driving. And whereas for thousands of families across the state and the nation, holidays are a time to remember loved ones lost. And whereas getting organizations across the state and the nation are joined with the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over and other campaigns that foster public awareness of the dangers of impaired driving and anti-impaired driving law enforcement efforts. And whereas the community of the Village of Villa Park is proud to partner with the Illinois Department of Transportation's Division of Traffic and Safety and other traffic safety groups in that effort to make our roads and streets safer. Therefore, I, Thomas Cullerton, Village President of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim December 2012 as Drunk and Drug Driving 3D Prevention Month and do hereby call upon all citizens, government, agencies, business leaders, hospitals and healthcare providers, schools and public and private institutions to promote awareness of the impaired driving problem, to support programs and policies to reduce the incidence of impaired driving, and to promote safer and healthier behaviors regarding the use of alcohol and other drugs this December holiday season and throughout the year. Item 2, public comments on agenda items. Anybody from the public who would like to speak on an agenda item? If you didn't, we printed up more agendas up there. If anyone needs to speak, that would be items 3 through 10. Anyone to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none. Consent agenda. A, approve the 2013 village calendar. B, minutes from the public hearing for November 26, 2012. C, minutes from the village board meeting for November 26, 2012. E, minutes from the village COW for November 26, 2012. E, approved bill listing dated December 10th, 2012 in the amount of $386,264.74 or 75 cents. Can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia.
I'll move for the consent agenda.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolthus.
second.
Any questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Davis.
Abstain?
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the motion, the consent agenda is approved. Item 4, second reading of an ordinance levying taxes for the fiscal year of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, commencing on the first day of May 2013 and ending on the 30th day of April 2014. Can I have a motion on the second reading?
Mr. President,
Trustee Davis.
make a motion.
Can I have a second, please?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello.
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the motion passes. Item 5, first and final reading of an ordinance approving a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, and Bone Properties LLC. Can I have a motion on the first and final?
Mr.
Mr. President,
Trustee Case.
Make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board? Again, to the Bone family, thank you very much for choosing Villa Park. We appreciate it. We look forward to you getting here. The sooner the better. And if you need anything from the village, please come to any one of the trustees. Obviously, you've already started a very good relationship with our economic development group over there on North Avenue. We'd love to foster anything else for you. And if you know any friends or anything that want to move their businesses here too, I'm more than happy to take that referral from you as well. So keep us in mind for that as well. All right.
I think these light young guys are looking for a house too.
All right. And can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And that carries. Item 7, congratulations, thank you very much. Item 6, first and final reading of an ordinance amending the regular meeting date of the Economic Development Commission. Can I have a motion for the first and final?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolthus.
so move.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President,
Trustee Davis.
second?
Questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the motion carries. Item 7, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adopting a citizen participation plan. Can I have a motion?
Mr. President,
Trustee Davis?
make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Case?
Second.
Would anyone like to hear the explanation from Vetus again?
Without the word plan in it.
Without the word plan in it? All right, any questions or comments?
Yes.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the resolution passes. Item 8, resolution approving a marketing agreement with Inland Bank and Trust and Inland Home Mortgage. Can I have a motion on the resolution?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia?
I'll move for the resolution.
Can I have a second, please?
Mr. President.
Trustee Case?
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Roll call vote.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the resolution passes. Phil, thank you very much, and I appreciate you coming out into the community. And as a veteran, the more you can do for our veterans, the better off we'll be, okay? Thank you, Phil. Item 9, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, Illinois, approving a state local hazard mitigation grant program agreement amendment with the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, PDM 2010. Can I have a motion on the resolution?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello, can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Case?
Second.
Any questions or comments from the board? Anybody would like Vetus to come up and explain it again? That would be... All right. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Colleton.
And the resolution passes. Item 10, resolution approving the Ike Planning and Technical Assistance Grant Agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Grant award number 08-358007. Can I have a motion on the resolution?
Mr. President,
Trustee Davis.
make a motion.
Can I have a second?
President?
Trustee Case.
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Colfax?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Motion passes. Item 11, village clerk's report. Anything, Clerk Kornecki?
I have something, yes.
No way. All right.
Yes, I do. One thing is for the candidates who will be in the consolidated election next April. Just want to read something so you know the date has changed for the last day of filing. The state legislature passed and the governor signed legislation changing the deadline for filing from December 24, which was a very difficult day to have to be the final day at 5 p.m. to December 26. So if you plan to bring your petitions in, I will receive them on the 26th up to 5 p.m. I'll be in the office from 9 to 12 and then again at 3 to 5. So we'll make that official. And the other item is this Wednesday is the SALT meeting for our senior community. It will be at the Community Recreation Building on Wildwood. It's at 11 a.m. I believe they're going to talk about holiday safety issues and cold weather preparation. And a very special thing is our Senior Concerns Commission will be hosting a lunch for after the meeting. So that's kind of a special thing, and our commission is very happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And a tag onto that, Village Hall, originally when those petitions were going to be due, essentially Hosanna was going to be the only person here really in Village Hall. Village Hall is closed on Christmas Eve. Just so everybody knows, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, that's Monday and Tuesday, the Village Hall will be closed. All right. Item 12, unfinished business, none. 13, new business, none. 14, village manager's report.
Your Honor, just have one item that I want to talk about for a moment or two, maybe three. I had the opportunity to participate in fire training this last Saturday. So at the last home we purchased on Monterey. So the fire department and Chief Ron was gracious enough to invite me there, and it was rather an eye-opening experience. I've never put on fire gear before, including the mask and the tank, so it was about 80 pounds of additional weight. And actually went into the house after we set a couple of fires that we could control. One of the last fires that we set was in the living room. And actually the sofa caught on fire, some of the carpeting. But as I looked in, the smoke from the sofa and the carpeting started at the ceiling. The ceiling was probably in between 600 to 1,000 degrees. And the flames were shooting up from the sofa and climbing the wall and shooting across the ceiling. But as the smoke stayed in the room, the smoke gradually banked and filled up the room. And you couldn't see up above. So we had to lean down, and you could still see in the room, you could see the carpeting and the flames, but you couldn't see above it. And then after about another 10 to 15 seconds, the whole room was engulfed in smoke. All of that took less than 2 minutes. I was amazed, and really reality kind of set in, because when the guys roll out of the fire station, get in the truck and drive to the scene, it's longer than 2 minutes. And usually these rooms are already engulfed in flames or flashovers. So, it was really interesting for me to realize that does my home have smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors? Do my kids know their way out? We live on a 2-story home, so I think this weekend I'll be buying some ladders so that they can climb out so they can run to the neighbors. Very eye-opening, very eye-opening. And they set one fire was in the front bedroom, another fire was in the back bedroom. If your fire alarms aren't wired together, then they're not all going to go off. You're going to have one go off where the fire is, and then the rest of the house may not know that. We set one fire in the basement, and then the last fire was in the living room. So I think it's essential that the kids have a plan to get out of the home and collect themselves and count to make sure everybody's out. Because quite frankly, when we set the last fire in the living room, there was 2 firefighters still in the living room watching the fire, so it didn't catch the home on fire, so we didn't lose control. I couldn't see them. There is no way that I knew that those 2 firefighters were there. And then I think we had 2 firefighters in the kitchen. There's no way. I couldn't see them until we pulled up the thermal imaging camera. Then you could see them. They were talking. You could see their hands moving. But otherwise, you wouldn't have saw them. So we were watching. I was watching. And all of a sudden, a command came over the radio that started counting off, where is everyone? And that was pretty amazing to know that we were all accounted for, because in a real life situation, I couldn't imagine being in all that smoke and trying to find somebody. You know, folks, if you're watching at home, have an exit strategy. Know where you're going to go. Check your fire alarms. Make sure you have batteries, etc. And if you don't, contact my office or Chief or Kosnick's, and we'll get you some batteries or some alarms. Thank you.
Thank you. You did good?
Good.
All right, very good.
I did cut my face.
Very well.
Excellent, excellent. This is part of cross-training.
Yes, actually it was.
You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, in fact, I can touch on the 4 fires. What we did is we set 4 fires, and then we were cross-training. So part of the cross-training is today we had a crew come in to try to identify what started the fire. So the first bedroom, it was basically, I'll be honest, it was drug use. So we started the fire with candles and things of that nature. And that fire, it took 30 seconds for it to go. We put 3 candles on top of a plastic dresser that pulled out. Within 30 seconds, the dresser melted, the mattresses caught on fire, and a light melted off my helmet. And seriously, because the flames were shooting up across the roof, the ceiling, because we were in the bedroom on our knees watching it. And the temperature of the ceiling was 600 degrees. I could feel it on my face and my ears. And at that point, you know, when it started getting out of control, those mattresses are very difficult to put out. And then the firefighter to my right, firefighter Blaze, came in with the hose. And I had a difficult time putting the mattress out. It kept going and going. And you know, I could just imagine that in a home. Really, very difficult to put out. So that was one. The second bedroom was a juvenile, what do you call that, Chief?
Juvenile fire setter.
Juvenile fire setter. And what the juveniles do is they crawl underneath the bed and they light things on fire, and then they put them out. Or they go in closets and they light fires and they put them out. So we set a fire in the closet underneath the bed and then a dresser drawer. And when those started, holy moly, that room really took off. And in the corner where they did underneath the bed, their mattress caught on fire, and immediately the flames came up the side of the wall and created a V, and it came across the ceiling. We didn't stay in that room very long. So that one took off. They were a little worried about me. So in the basement, we lighted a chair on fire, and you know, the children would be downstairs playing with matches, and the chair took off. It took a little bit. We needed some help on that one. So we started some newspapers on fire with some lighter fuel, and you know, once that one got going, smoke became very heavy in the basement. In fact, we only had, I think, 2 people down there because we weren't sure. Once it filled up, we didn't want a lot of folks in the basement with only one exit, because I know I was going for it. So that was interesting. But like I said, the last one is where we set the sofa on fire, and you know, very interesting. And I learned something about the thermal imaging cameras, and I turned to the chief and I said, okay, so if we're in there, you can see the fire, you can see the firemen. Can you see the victim? Well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So obviously if you can't, they're already deceased and they're not warm. But if you're still living, you know, you'll show up on there. So it's very interesting, very interesting. So, does that help?
That sounds perfect. No, I wanted to, you know.
Did you get it on
study your system now.
Yeah, you don't want to be a
Well,
firefighter anymore.
Well, it was kind of fun, actually. But that 80 pounds took a toll on my body.
Hey, I rode the fire truck with Santa. I'm good. We're fine. I don't need to be in a fire. I'm doing just fine riding that truck with Santa. We're good. We'll go to item 15, Village Attorney's Report.
No report.
All right. Item 16, Village Trustees Report. Trustee Bolthus.
There's a couple things. Thank you to the winners of the Halloween decorating contest. It helps make the season that much more fun for the rest of us who don't really decorate that much. So appreciate it a lot. I have one question. How's the skate park coming? Can we have an update on the skate park? Looks good. I go by there a couple times a day. So
Those guys are really cranking. They're have one more section to pour, and they should be done hopefully with weather permitting by the end of the week. So they're way ahead of schedule, and I've had the good fortune to watch those guys work. They're amazing. They're well worth what we paid for them, and we got a bargain.
They're putting long hours in.
They're working hard, and
they're working longer than I do. So
8 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it that way.
Well, they have lights out there, and they're working in the dark, so that was great.
No matter how you meant it, it came out.
Yeah, it came out big.
Merry Christmas.
I teed it up for them. And I understand we're having our meeting, next week's meeting somewhere else. Are we going to get an update on that for the residents, or?
Rich?
Thank you, Your Honor. That is correct. I knew you were going to bring that up, so I left it out of my report. Yes, we will be meeting at Willowbrook High School in the auditorium on December 17th at 7:30. During that meeting, it'll be a regular board meeting. We'll start off with a committee of the whole, go right into the formal. During the committee of the whole, there will be a state of the village address, and then we'll proceed into the other matters. Additionally, at 6 o'clock in the Willowbrook Auditorium, we will have another meeting with residents of Michigan for the roadway construction, and Van Buren for the roadway construction, and Park for the roadway construction to talk about funding and road conditions, etc. So at 6 o'clock we'll have that. 7:30 starts the board meeting at Willowbrook.
And for everyone's knowledge, that will be our last board meeting of the year, as the next 2 Mondays are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So next Monday will be our final board meeting for 2012. Our next meeting will be after that, January 14th?
I believe so.
January 14th, 2013.
In this room.
And it'll be back here.
So obviously, we won't be in this room next week, so we won't be live on television. I assume it's going to be taped and rebroadcast, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look next week Monday, you'll still see us doing the same thing. So, thank you. That's it.
All right. Trustee Taglia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. First, I'd like to thank everyone who was involved with Joyful Traditions. We all had a great time. Also, I'd like to thank Trustees Aiello and Davis for helping convince the sleigh driver to stay longer so that all of the children got a ride on the sleigh that night. So that was very nice of you guys, so thank you very much for that. Also, something I wanted to bring up is the fire hydrants, the program that Joey Egan brought forward with the adopting the fire hydrants. As of the end of the season this year, a total of 277 hydrants have been adopted, with revenue just over $7,700 that's going to the fire department. So I think fire department well deserves that money, and I'm happy to see that it's been a huge success. So, also I'd like to bring up something that was brought to me by the Villa Park Youth Baseball Organization. I was talking with the village manager, and I'd like to propose a way to either drop the $10,000 fee that's charged to the Youth Baseball Organization each year, or find a way to reduce it just to help the program out. And that's something that I'd like to bring forward and talk with the board and the manager about. Also, I'd like to report a coffee with the board. It went pretty well. some residents mentioned that possibly changing Coffee with the Board from Saturdays to the first Monday of the month, where we don't have a regularly scheduled board meeting. Perhaps the board would consider changing our Coffee with the Board meeting to the first Monday evening, if that might work better for members of the board and residents, because sometimes early Saturday mornings don't work out well for people to have coffee with the board. So just something I wanted to see if people would be interested in. Also, the Coalition of Villa Park Pools, we had a pretty successful night at North School raising money for the pools. Also, the next event will be an open gym at Ardmore School on January 11th from 7 till 9 p.m. And that's for all grade school kids, and admission's only $2. And again, that's money that all goes towards fixing our pools, so appreciate it if people could come out with their grade school kids and participate. And that's the extent of my report for this evening.
Thank you. Trustee Case?
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Davis?
Real quick, Manager Keener, is there anything going on with the LED sign ordinance that the staff was working on? I'm seeing more popping up, and there was one, I think it was at Ardmore Liquors, that was blinding one night. And that just popped up out of nowhere. I don't remember seeing it until it almost made my daughter crash the car. So is there something going on with that?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Community Director Grill is discussing this very topic, I believe, tomorrow evening. Thursday evening, with planning and zoning, and then in the first meeting in January, the director is coming to the board with a recommendation.
Okay. And last but not least, something I want to finish up before my term's up is the billboard, that we have not given it its certificate. Are we going to be doing this? Somebody can answer it. The licensing that we never gave.
If the votes are there, then yes, but last time the votes weren't there. So we can put it up on the, if you'd like to put it up on the agenda, we can put it up on the agenda.
We kind of should. The billboard's up, man.
If you want to put it on the agenda, we can put it on the agenda.
Put it on the agenda. We got to make it legal.
All right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Davis. All right, Trustee Ayala?
Just one thing, Mr. President. Can I try and get a referendum for the roads put on the ballot for April?
No. It's too late, right? Or is it, we've already passed the deadline?
What's the deadline for that?
Oh, wait, maybe not.
I believe the deadline's January 22nd.
For referendums?
I think so.
Is it?
It's earlier if people petition to have something put on.
All right, here's where we're at. If we have it approved by this board prior to January 22nd, and then it has to be filed by January 31st, it can go on to the ballot in April.
So you have to do it first on the January 14th meeting.
Essentially,
January
on the
21st
14th would have to be a first. Well, it would have to be committee of the whole on the 14th, as well as a first, and then it would have to go to final on the 21st, and then that would be the day before it's due to be adopted, and then it would have to be filed essentially that week right after, correct?
And it gives us 3 months to promote it.
Gives us 3 months to promote it.
Works for me.
Which kind do you want? What do you want? What are the parameters?
Exactly the same referendum you had last time.
We've had two since I.
With a different way of presenting it.
We had 2 different referendums we ran since I've been president. One was a $28 million, 28 Vetus, $28 million referendum bond, as well as a sales tax, and then the other one we came back. The exact next election, Trustee Bolthus?
Yes.
Or did we go 1 year out? No, exact next election, and we ran just the 0.5% sales tax. So you had two different referendums. One, the $28 million one was the overall fixing of all the streets with the 0.5% going towards the long-term costs of fixing everything, or the 0.5% one itself, was just going to be put directly into the road funds. And both failed, as well as electric aggregation, which will be on the ballot as well.
Understood. So your question to me is?
My question to you is just what I said. What do you want to do? You got two separate ideas, and then also, realistically, you only have 3 months to promote it.
I don't think we need more than 3 months to promote it.
One day.
Well, I mean, I think you will need some time to promote it, but I think 3 months is more than enough time to get it promoted. I understand getting it on the ballot and
is the key to the podium.
And the difficulty may be in wording a referendum in order to get it on there in time to make the January 22nd deadline.
The language would probably be very similar to what we did before. The problem we had last time with the language is due to the new, due to the economy the way it was, the governor allowed for the 0.5% sales taxes that were done prior to all referendums 2008, 2009. It used to be you could just put on the referendum for roads only. That was the referendum that passed in 2006. The governor allowed, and it was required by law to put on there 4 roads plus infrastructure plus possibly general funds. So if you remember the question last time, it had that all that money, even though we had all promoted it as only going towards roads,
general funds is still a
it
problem.
could have been swept into, and other municipalities may have swept it into general funds.
So if we
So
do it
we
as a
probably have
bond-
to do that exact same
If we do this
language.
as a bond,
If we do it as a bond, it would go directly onto people's property tax
and
bills.
only be,
And we could set it for, and it would be set for a defined time, specific payment. I believe last time the amount on the 28 million on a $250,000 house was it came out to about $1,585 a month for the 20-year period. So
and no risk to the taxpayer of that going into the general fund.
no, that bond had to be utilized within 3 years of the bond being accepted. And so actually, had the bond passed, everybody, this summer would have been the last summer of road work, and every road in Villa Park would have an 80% grade or higher. Had that bond passed 3 years ago when we first ran it. This summer, right now, you'd be seeing the tail end of construction crews. We would have had a mess for 3 years, but you'd see the tail end of construction crews leaving, and every road in this town would have an 80% grade or higher had that passed 3 years ago.
So I want to run it as a bond, and I want to use the same numbers we used in the last referendum to do a third a year.
To do the 3-year plan.
3-year plan, right.
What I would recommend, I can probably put that up on the agenda for the 14th. What I'd like you to do is stop in and talk with Vetus and see what type of numbers, if they're still valid, where they're at. Also, maybe have a quick conversation with the manager to see who's promoting. Because I imagine him and his department are also going to be promoting community aggregation as well.
Understood.
And we also have a municipal election as well, so you'll see lots of, however, maybe that's it. Throw it all on the candidates.
Well, I mean, you know what? Our kids say no to us all the time, but they keep asking.
Right.
And about 2/3 of us.
Eventually buckle?
Well, I don't think buckle. On the 5th request.
I got you.
Sometimes you gotta keep getting kicked in the face.
Hey, I'm going to Springfield. I'll be getting that a lot. Don't worry about it. All right, well, we can put that back up.
Okay.
We can definitely put that back up. I would suggest talk to Vetus, and then give me a call, which one you feel would probably be obviously the most beneficial. Call your other board members, see what they think would have the best opportunity as passing. And then realistically, if you want to do the bond one, talk to Vetus, see if those numbers are still valid. And they should be somewhat, at least, kind of in the ballpark. We have gotten quite a bit of road work done since then.
They're actually high.
And we'll go from there. And give me a call over the holidays, and I'll put something on for you on the 14th.
Christmas Eve good for you?
What's that?
Christmas Eve good for you, that all?
At 2 in the morning.
Christmas Eve, perfect time.
I'll come and help you put things together.
There we go. Come and help me put together all the kids' toys. It'll be beautiful. All right, any other, now we go on to item 17, public comments on non-agenda items. Is there anyone to speak on a non-agenda item? If you come up, please write your name on the, on the paper that's up on the column, and please keep it to about 3 minutes. All right, seeing none, we will, oh, hey, John.
Good evening. John Squeal, North Lincoln Avenue. Coffee with the village board. Changing this time has been discussed for several years now, I think probably since 2009. Al actually, I think, was the first one to bring up an evening day. I think that'd be a good idea to try that, even for a short amount of time, see how it works out. Of course, attendance has been a problem. Monday evening, even if it has to be in an alternate location besides here, I think it'd be a good idea to try it. See how it works. One other thing, Manager Keener, I have a question about a road. We had Westmore Avenue redone a few years ago from Terrace Park to North Avenue, and we get a reoccurring small sinkhole approximately at Terrace and Westmore at that intersection. And I talked to John Davis about this on December 1st. We had to actually call the contractor back. Was it a year after he did that? Yeah, they came back. I think there's a drainage problem there, underneath there. And it came back, there's actually a companion sinkhole about 4 or 5 feet away, a lot smaller. We've been cold patching it. We just cold patched it again, I see. It was actually marked out with marking paint. So Vitas probably knows about it. I was just wondering if that continues to be a problem, seeing as the road's only 2 years old, if we're gonna look into that.
Yeah, let me look into it tomorrow
Okay,
morning. I'll
okay.
drive it.
Vitas might know about it, so.
Yeah, okay.
But, that's it.
Thank you, John. Any other questions, any other comments from the public on a non-agenda item? Yeah, you're not allowed to come back. No, I'm kidding. All right, and with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President?
Trustee Boltes?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Mr. President.
You don't want to leave, we can stay here all night, I guess.
so early.
Trustee Case?
Second.
All right, questions or comments from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bolfus?
Aye.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
President Colleton?
And we will see you next Monday at 6 o'clock if you're going to the road meeting, 7:30 and for the regular board meeting over at Willowbrook High School. Thank you, Villa Park. Stay classy.